Chapter 18. Being, Doing, Getting. On 123rd Street when I was young, we had a gang called the Gripers. That struck terror into the neighborhood. Watch the fuck out or we'll come gripe at you. But even though I was in the Gripers, I wasn't a griper. Belonging to any group for me was always an ad hoc thing that filled some immediate need. In this case, smoking pot. But not what you'd call a deep, existential hunger. As soon as I started going steady with my first girlfriend, Mary Catherine, I left the group. I was still a card-carrying griper, but it was always, Georgie's up in the hall with Mary Catherine. The only gang I wanted to be part of was the Loners, membership restricted to one, me. It always seemed to me that the reasons groups came together were superficial. The group didn't feed me, and I had nothing to contribute to it. I had a deeper goal, this giant puzzle to work out. All the group stuff denied me the chance to solve the giant puzzle. Who the fuck am I? How did I come together? What are the parts and how do they fit? The aloneness of the stage makes groups irrelevant. Few things dramatize the face-off between loner and group more starkly than the artist before the audience. And there's an irony here. If this loner can't get the audience to act as a group, laugh together, he's fucked. When things go well on stage, I don't just think, they like me, they accept me, they think I'm clever. All those things happen, but I'm also looking inside to see what else is going on. And when I do, there's a sense in those moments that I am more than alone. I am the only thing in the universe. I am the only thing that's happening in it. No way to escape the progression of moments as they come up on stage. The next line and the next line, the next laugh and the next laugh, which include my hands and the tilt of my jaw, how wide I open my eyes, whether I put more energy into it or slow it down a little with my voice. There is nothing happening in the universe outside of that reality and that experience. When besides that, I'm being rewarded with all this approval, attention, approbation for something that is solely mine and only I can do. There can't be anything better than that, to be intensely alone, intensely myself, in control of everything, the center of a self-created universe. The creation of material is the ultimate freedom because that's creating the world I want. That's the freedom I always have. I'm alone. Nobody wrote it but me. There are no amplifiers, no counting off, no staying in the same key. There are words I have to know, but I made them all up. My job is making up things that aren't and telling people that they are. That's what I do. What greater freedom can there be? To say, the world is upside down. It's not what you think at all. It's my world. I invented it. Fuck you. An audience is the only group I can tolerate because the audience wouldn't be a group if it wasn't for me, which extends to every other audience that has ever liked me. More and more as I get older, when people come up to me in public places to tell me how much they enjoyed some piece at a concert or club as long as 40 years ago, I mentally see an audience of millions stretching away into the darkness, individuals who in a sense I've met and some spark has passed between us, actual humans in whose presence I've been and who've been in mine, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 at a time, but also one-on-one. Live performance does that for you as nothing else can, and I think very few other comics in my lifetime can say that. Outside of my audience, groups repel me because for the sake of group thought, they kill individuality, that wonderful human oneness. I'm wide open to individuals, fine with individuals. Individuals are just great. Every individual set of eyes you look into gives you something, whether it's a blank wall or an infinite regress of barbershop mirrors, just as fascinating. People are wonderful one at a time. Each of them has an entire hologram of the universe somewhere within them. But as soon as individuals begin to clump, as soon as they begin to clot, they change, and the larger the group, the more toxic. The more of your beauty as an individual you have to surrender for the sake of group thought. And when you suspend your individual beauty, you also give up a lot of your humanity. You will do things in the name of a group that you would never do on your own. Injuring, hurting, killing, drinking are all part of it, because you've lost your identity, because you now owe your allegiance to this thing that's bigger than you are, and that controls you. I no longer identify with my species. I haven't for a long time. I identify more with carbon atoms. I don't feel comfortable or safe on this planet. From the standpoint of my work and peace of mind, the safest thing, the thing which gives me most comfort, is to identify with the atoms and the stars, and simply contemplate the folly of my fellow species members. My job is to watch the ludicrous dance down here for the humor and entertainment it provides, and drop in every now and then to show my former species how fucked up they are. Years ago, I began to recede past Jupiter and its moons, out to the Oort cloud of trillions of comets, beyond the planet formerly known as Pluto, back home with my fellow atoms, all of which originally came from some star or other, and not necessarily the one we're circling. I believe I'm bigger than the universe, smaller than the universe, and equal to it. I'm bigger than the universe because I can picture it, define it in my mind, and everything that's in it, and contain all that in my mind in a single thought. A thought that's not even the only one in there. It's right between, shit, my ass itches, and, why don't we fuck the waitress? That thought, with all the others, is inside the 23-inch circumference of my cranium. So I'm bigger than the universe. I'm smaller than it because that's obvious. I'm 5'9" and 150 pounds, and the universe is somewhat taller and heavier. I'm equal to it because every atom in me is the same as every atom the universe is made of. I'm part of that proto-galaxy 5 billion light years away, and of that cigarette butt in Cleveland. There are no differences. We're equal. Unlike our fake democracy, the democracy of atoms is real. Depending on my given mood on a given day, I can reflect on one of these three relationships for a moment or two and find comfort in it. And know that I'm really at one with the universe and will return to it on a more fundamental level someday. My reunion with it and all the rest is a journey, a game, a comedy, a parade. After I die, I'd love to be fired into space. That's probably not practical given the crowded nature of the upper atmosphere. So one of the codicils of my will is, I, George Carlin, being of sound mind, do not wish upon my demise to be buried or cremated. I wish to be blown up. I am very single-minded and preoccupied about my career, my art, my craft, my writing, my entertainment, whatever this package is. I get so much satisfaction out of my work. I pour so much of myself into it and get so much approval back. It's a circular process that's going on, a closed system. And maybe some percentage of the normal need to connect with people, even those I'm closest to, has always been satisfied. But boy, nature is exacting. It has a balance sheet that just won't quit. And if someone leaves before the end of their balance sheet, it may never be balanced up. The longer time goes by, the closer to even numbers it's going to come out in the end. And someone has to pay. There's no way that the stand I took long ago, I will exist alone and write my own things and steer my own ship and tell everybody what I think with just a microphone, no instruments, no band, no director, no writer, no producer, just me, isn't singularly selfish. When Brenda was alive, I used to have a fantasy of Ireland, the southeastern part so that it would be a little warmer, and the two of us there, close enough to Dublin that you could go buy things you needed and not have to clean yourself with wire or whatever. I don't know much about the countryside. I guess I know they're not poor, and just email my shit to the publisher and go sit in the garden. I often wonder if things had turned out differently, whether I would have acted on that fantasy. I think I might. Give up performance. Make that sacrifice. The most important lesson I've learned from nature, and I don't necessarily apply it well, is balance. There's a part of me that's unfed and unnourished. It needs the light of day. It needs some encouragement, and that is not what I do now. I'm not even going to call it by its name, the opposite of what I do now. Time to be and not do. I learned that early on from my shrink, Al Weinstein, whom I loved and trusted, but who died suddenly on me. He had a stroke. It's a really great feeling when your appointment gets canceled because your therapist died. But that doesn't alter or affect his code of life, which was be, do, get. And I don't be enough, Jack. I do plenty. I get some, but I don't be.